Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is doing great. Let's solve today's Leetcode problem 85 maximal rectangle. Given a rows times column binary matrix filled with zeros and ones, find the largest rectangle containing only ones and return its area. This is the matrix which we have been given, and let's identify what all possible rectangles we can choose which contains only ones. Okay, this is one rectangle which we can choose, which has an area of 4. This is also a valid rectangle and which is of area 3. This is a valid rectangle of area 2. This is a valid rectangle of area 1, and this is of area 2, area 3, area 6, area 5, area 3. If you see, the largest area which we have encountered so far is 6, right? How can we identify the largest rectangle? Okay, so before jumping dive into the solution, there is a prerequisite for this problem. Okay, the prerequisite is Leetcode number 84, largest rectangle in a histogram. Okay, this problem states we have been given heights of the histogram bars and we have to identify the largest rectangle which can be formed in this histogram. Okay, this problem can be solved using this solution itself. How is it exactly? Okay, if let's say we have only considered the first row, that means I can say the first row is heights of the histogram, where the first bar is of height 1 and second bar is of height 0, third bar is of height 1, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is something like this: height 1 and height 0, and followed by again height 1 and height 0 and height 0. Okay, so this is what the histogram is if you only consider the first one. Okay, let's say we have considered the first two rows. Okay, so the histogram will be looking like the height, first bar is of height 2, okay, and second bar is of height 0, and third bar is of height 2, fourth bar is of height 1, and fifth bar is also of height 1. Okay, so given this histogram, what will be the maximum area of the rectangle? The maximum area of the rectangle will be 3, which is coming from this. If you only consider the first two rows, let's consider the first 3 rows. So the histogram which can be formed is the first bar is of height 3, the second bar is of height 1, third bar is of height 3, fourth bar is of height 2, fifth bar is of height 2 again. So the maximum area of the rectangle which we can form is 6. Okay, let's also consider the fourth into our fourth row also, all the rows. So this, the histogram will look like the first bar will be of height 4, second bar will be of height 0, third bar will also be height 0, and height 3 and height 0. So here if we consider this histogram, the area would be, maximum area would be 4. So out of all these heights which we have considered, the maximum area is 6. Okay, so the intention is to generate the histograms as we process each row. Okay, so that is what I have done here. Okay, so I've just maintained a 2D matrix, 2D array, I named it as converted. Okay, where each row will contain the histogram heights if I have considered from height 0 till the ith row. Okay, so I just defined few variables. M is basically the length of the matrix, the number of rows, and n is the number of columns. And then I have defined a 2D array and named it as converted, which will be having the converted of I will be having the heights of the histogram by considering the first I rows. Okay, so here what I am doing is if I only consider the first row, that means it will be having 1 0 1 0 0. If I consider 2, all I have to do is to add the current element to the height of the previous histogram, right? So 1 will be added to this, 1 will be added to this, 1 will be added to this, 1 will be added to this. So that is what I am doing here. and whenever we have encountered 0, that means I don't have to consider the previous height. I can simply say the height of the current bar is 0 and then I can proceed. Okay, once I have populated this, the rest algorithm will completely remain same. This max area is actually the largest rectangle area. It's the same function, okay, which is taking heights as an input. If you see, it's also taking in heights, and it's the same algorithm which we have implemented over there. Okay, if I try to submit this problem, it will work. All the basic test cases were accepted, and if I also try to submit this solution, all the test cases will also pass, and it is pretty efficient solution. Okay, before jumping dive into the time complexity analysis, I highly recommend you to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed yet. Okay, because I will be posting daily Leetcode problems. Okay, and let's try to upskill our problem solving skills together. Okay, let's try to analyze the time complexity and the space complexity. As we know, the time complexity and space complexity, to identify the largest area of a histogram, is basically order of n followed by order time complexity of order of n, and space complexity is also order of n. Let's try to analyze the space complexity and time complexity for this algorithm. Okay, for each heights, for each row of heights, I'm executing this maximum area. Okay, that means this maximum area will be, this function will be executed on all the rows. Okay, so the total time complexity will be m into n. Okay, and the space complexity is also m into n, because I have created an extra space of m time n. So the time complexity and the space complexity here would be order of m into n. Okay, that is all about this problem. Do subscribe to my coding channel, hit the like button and share your valuable feedback in the comment section, and don't miss to subscribe.